What it do? Dream Team, it's your boy Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with non-Americans. What's the weirdest thing an American has said to you? If you got something weird that's not in this video, drop it in the comment section. But make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, give the video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media and Patreon, all up top. You don't subscribe to any of it, put all the links in the description. All you gotta do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me, shoot me. I talk back. If you got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon, or in the description there's a Google form link. What we got?
Non-Americans of Reddit. What's the weirdest thing an American has said to you? Had an African American assume I was also African American because I'm black. I had to explain to him that the ethnically specified title African American is only used to describe black people from America, not black people from other countries, and that black people from other countries are not specifically labeled by heritage, race or ethnicity. Afterward I revealed to him that I'm actually Bahamian. Despite all that explaining, he still proceeded to ask, "Oh, so you're an African Bahamian then?" I felt a vein on the side of my head twinge a little, lol.
He told him, outside of America, most places they do not recognize you by like ethnicity, race, you know what I'm saying? And after explaining all this, and he said, "I'm actually Bahamian," he said, "Oh, so you're African Bahamian." Oh, dude, that's hilarious. Yeah, I just say, I don't ask other people if they're African American. You're black. You're black. If you're black, you're black. But that's just me. You feel me? Keep it rolling. I love that.
Me and them. I felt a vein on the side of my head twinge a little, lol. Canadian here. I was 7 and in Florida telling my new also 7-year-old friend about our money system. I told her we don't have $1 or $2 brother-in-laws, they are coins, and called a loony and a toonie. She goes and asks her parents, and they told her I was lying. Also Canadian here. Worked for where I worked in Windsor. I could see America. The number of questions about snow and igloos whenever anyone found out was too high. I swear I spent 15 minutes trying to convince a woman from Detroit that the crisscrossing lights in the sky came from Caesars Windsor and that there is no snow here right now. It's July. I worked at the duty free at the Ambassador Bridge. A carload of Americans came through with skis on their car. One minus they had managed to turn themselves around, so were heading back to the US. Not sure how, but they wouldn't believe me that they were going in the wrong direction to visit Canada. 2 minus it was early September. They were rather mad to find out we didn't have any snow and wouldn't for several months.
Us Americans, we don't know about any other countries. We don't know. What you did? I was gonna say that we don't know. We're less educated on the rest of the world than a lot of other countries. I'll just put it like that. Be nice about it, you feel me? Oh, this is funny.
Find out we didn't have any snow and wouldn't for several months. I live in the southern hemisphere. Talking to an American online in December, and I mentioned it was summer for me. She kept asking which month I was, and kept insisting it must be June, and couldn't seem to wrap her head around the idea that it was simultaneously December and summer in the southern hemisphere. You speak real good English for a foreigner, I'm British, and she knew that. Edit.
We're terrible. What? Guys, the British speak English. They say English. Know what I'm saying? They were speaking English before America was found. We gotta do better.
You speak real good English for a foreigner, I'm British, and she knew that. Edit. Because a lot of people seem to think that no American could ever say this and mean it. It was a lovely, sweet, older woman who thought she was paying me a genuine compliment. We sat and chatted in her garden for about an hour as she plied me with her homemade lemonade and asked me about my life and what brought me to Washington State. I thanked her because she was saying something lovely, albeit weird, and we continued chatting. I'm British. Was traveling in the States. Got talking to a guy at a bar while we are waiting for service, and he recommended I try a pint of Guinness while in the US. He informed me they don't sell Guinness in the UK. I politely explained that they do indeed have Guinness in just about every pub in the UK. He disagreed, adding that he's never been himself, but his son-in-law went to London on business and told him so. I explained I'd lived in the UK including London my whole life. He looked at me lost in thought for a few moments and said they don't have Guinness there and walked away.
Like, how are you gonna tell someone who has lived in the UK almost their whole life that they don't have Guinness there when he is telling you as a fact that they do have Guinness there? Bro, we're wild. Like, it baffles me. It baffles me. Like, just admit that you didn't know, my bad. I guess I got some misinformation. I was wrong, my bad. That's all you gotta say. That's
moments and said they don't have Guinness there and walked away. How long did you take you learn to use metric instead of normal measurements? He genuinely didn't understand that metric was a system we actually used every day. We weren't constantly having to mentally convert measurements to feet or pounds to understand how big they really were. I'd say it's a toss-up between, is England in London? Do you still like drive horses to get around in Europe? And a guy trying to smack talk on Sparks who, after I told him nobody cares, said who cares what you think? You're foreign. I said so are you. And he laughed and said no retard. I'm American.
You're foreign to, you're American, yeah, but in other countries you're foreign, my guy. It's hilarious. It's absolutely
And he
hilarious.
laughed and said no retard. I'm American. I'm American. But I have a pen pal from Canada I speak to often. Last night, I think I revealed to her just how much of an idiot I can be. She complained that she was too hot to sleep, and I said, oh, right. You guys have a heat wave going on, right? She said no, that's the other coast. My dumbass said oh yeah, I forget Canada has 2 coasts. She said no, we have 3. How the heck does Canada have 3 coasts? We have islands in the north. I thought you guys were connected to the ice cap. And what is under the ice? When I was a kid, I thought it was just solid ice from surface to the seafloor. But BBC has taught me it's just water, death fingers, and miserable life damned there. Yes. So those melt every year and there are rock islands. So, 3 coasts. What the heck? Canadians live on rock islands in the middle of a damn ice desert that melts every year. Needless to say, I learned a shit ton about Canada last night. They have groups of 1,200 people on rock islands who get supplies shipped to them via ice roads in winter and flown to them in spring. Sounds like a plot I'd only see in a movie.
I swear to God.
I swear on my mother's life that this happened. I was on a student exchange between my German school and a school in San Francisco in the late 90s. When the Americans came to visit us, we had a welcome party for them at a friend's place. That friend had a dog, and at some point he gave the dog a command in German. The dog obeyed, and one of the American kids asks how we managed to teach German to the dog. He wasn't joking either. He seemed convinced that all pets are somehow born with knowledge of the English language.
Bro, I don't even know what to say. I just at this point, like, it's just crazy. It baffles me. It truly baffles me.
He seemed convinced that all pets are somehow born with knowledge of the English language, but all other languages need to be taught to them. All I can see in my head is my favorite picket face palm gif. I know someone who bought a fully trained personal protection dog, a German Shepherd, from a couple who trains them. The couple uses German to train them on purpose, and the owner then has to learn the commands in German. They've been asked by a lot of people how their dog learned German. This is in the US. I didn't know it was this cold in Cuba. We are in Spain, Europe. Stupid ducker came to university here on a scholarship for 6 months and didn't even know which country he was coming into, nor thought it was strange how long the flight was. He also didn't think about googling the place to see where it was. The weather, dunno. Information about the place he was going to live for 6 months. Only packed flip-flops, shirts and shorts. We're in the north of Spain. We have UK weather. He had to spend quite a bit for winter clothes in October because he had nothing to wear. He was also bummed because he couldn't find tacos here you can. I live.
That's not the most American thing right there. If that wasn't the most American thing, I don't know what is.
Was also bummed because he couldn't find tacos here you can. I lived for a while in an old house in Somerset. It was once owned by Rev Thomas Budd, who traveled to America on the Mayflower. Had quite a few Americans turn up on the doorstep. There's a blue plaque expecting me to drop everything and provide a house tour and have expert knowledge of Thomas Budd. As an American, I can kind of understand their line of thinking. Historical houses like that are often preserved and turned into tourist attractions in the news. Not sure if that's as common in England. Your country has been around a lot longer, so it's pretty normal for people to live in houses that are centuries old. Right. Also, Americans tend to overestimate how important our history is to people in other countries, especially England. You get a lot of Americans who are shocked to find out that your schools don't cover the American Revolution nearly as in depth as our schools. Just for example, in my school, we learned about the Mayflower at age 6 and revisited the topic repeatedly over the years. To us, your house would have been a really fascinating historical place to visit. But to Brits, I'd guess it's probably more like, oh ha, this guy was on the Mayflower. That's kinda cool, I guess. Like, what do you care if some guy who used to live at your house hundreds of years ago left the county as an Englishman? Thanks for translating and offering a POV on it. It is pretty normal for people to live in houses that are old. For example, in my small town we have buildings from the 1800s that the downstairs section has been converted into modern shops, but the exterior and main building are still old. To find out your schools don't cover the American Revolution nearly in depth as our schools, I guess you're kind of right, because we don't cover American history at all. Our schools would rather teach us about World War II for the 10th time. We barely even touched the Irish Troubles, and even then it was heavily biased and watered down. And the Irish are far more relevant to our history than America is. When I was in school we studied local history, the canal networks in our town, yawn. World War II multiple times. Various battles with France, including the Battle of Somme, which came with a school trip to France to see the graves and monuments, the Battle of Hastings, the suffragette movement, the Tudors, the Romans, Isambard Kingdom, Brunel, and the railway systems, and so on. Even in the World War II studies we didn't cover what America did, focusing instead on everything that happened before America got involved, the tragedies of the concentration camps and such. We also specifically are not taught anything about the colonialistic history of the British Empire. Oh ha, this guy was on the Mayflower. Kinda cool, I guess. No, this won't be the response.
No. Oh yeah, I guess also they said we don't mess with America. We don't mess with America over here. We ain't learning about nothing about y'all history. We don't care. We learned everything before y'all came in to help out in World War II. And know what I'm saying? What y'all did, we not learning about nothing that y'all did, you feel me? Y'all stay over there with that history, we gonna learn about what we wanna learn about. I feel it, keep it.
Guy was on the Mayflower. Kinda cool, I guess. No, this won't be the response. Even as you're trying to guess at how little our expense would be, you're still very much overestimating how much we know and care about American history. If you didn't name the Mayflower in your comment, I wouldn't have even known what it was called and what it did meant historically. But yeah, right, that we wouldn't care at all. It would be shrugged off and maybe given an eye roll, if it were to even be acknowledged at all. Maybe a what the duck was the Mayflower, or a muttered bloody Americans Yanks. American history is really inconsequential to us. We have far more history that doesn't involve America at all. History that is far more relevant to us. The average Briton doesn't give a toss about America at all. I know I didn't even know about the Boston Tea Party stuff until an American made a joke about it to me, but it didn't even land cause I didn't know it happened. Summary: we are not taught American history and we don't care about it either. Not trying to sound like an asshole, just saying it how it is. Our country is extremely anti-American to the point where UK Reddit subs have rules and guidelines on not being an anti-American chamber. Teachers in our schools apologize if they play a video with American narration. American tourists are mocked, and teens, mostly girls, will randomly put on a Valley Girl accent to mock stupid things that general Americans say. People are also complaining lately that American politics and culture are being imported over and applied to our society, which doesn't function in the same way, nor have the exact same issues as America does.
God, first of all, this is a very long post. But second, sheesh, like, they the anti-American. He said they're very anti-American. Like, why? Why you hate us so much? But they got rules and guidelines on not being an anti-American echo chamber. That's funny, and I actually believe it because I be seeing some comments and so I be seeing comments on YouTube videos. And I definitely believe it, but
which doesn't function in the same way, nor have the exact same issues as America does. TBF, a lot of historically significant houses are tourist attractions in Britain. English Heritage and National Trust, for example. Many aren't. I think the real confusion is the plaque. Here we see a plaque as just a notice of interest for that spot. In the US, plaques tend to be stops along a tour, or welcome to a larger tourist attraction. My children were taught about American Thanksgiving in primary. US-Vietnam War in middle year. We're in a weird 3-tier area, and do cover a lot of the War of Independence Revolutionary era, but they don't cover pre-Euro invasion or in-depth US history any more than US schools cover British history beyond random. Tudors and World War II. Britain has a rich history of incorporating bits and pieces of other cultures and making them their own. Americans take the blame for far more than they actually contribute. They really should stop getting credit for it. My wife was staying at a hostel in Athens a few years ago. She shared a room with an American in her 20s. They got talking about where they've stayed in the past, and my wife told her that she used to live in Sweden for a few years. The American didn't know where or what Sweden was. My wife said it's a country next to Norway. Oh, Norway. The American burst out. Ol is from there. Do you know Ol? Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing for more videos.
Yeah, we don't know much about other places. That's just how it is. They said about everything in this video. I definitely want to see more Reddit videos. But that's all we got for this one. You guys got a favorite video you want to see or hear me react to, you can subscribe to Patreon, or in the description section there's a Google form link. Hit the link, fill out your suggestions, send it to me. Want me to get yours faster, others fill out premium. Make sure you hit subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media and Patreon, all up top. You can subscribe to any of it. Put all the links in the description. All you gotta do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. Love talking to you guys. You guys are the most incredible team on YouTube. It's your boy D Neal, out.